tonight, and we've been doing it like that. I'm looking around, and I've got 3 seniors that have already set the tone. Next year's 12th grader. Platform when they come in. You guys can hang in. Again, thanks a lot for coming. We've got about, I tell the girls sometimes that we have a lot of stuff to do in a short amount of time. We're putting 10 pounds of sand in a 5-pound pail tonight. I know it's a beautiful evening and they want me to get you guys in and out of here as quickly as possible, and that's what we're going to try and do. I want to thank Dad and my sister Stacy for coming tonight. It's been a roller coaster this year, but we're on the good side of this thing, and you guys don't have a chance to talk to him. He's getting better every day, and he's progressing. And is there anything you can take your mask off, and you got 2 minutes.
I don't need any time. I just miss everybody, and I'm glad to see you.
Okay. Yeah. He wore the shirt that you guys got him at Christmas time, and he's really appreciative of that. Michaela, where's she tonight? Florida. Michaela was in Florida a week and a half ago for a race, and then she came home for 4 days, and she said, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, I'm not going to be there because we're going to be in Florida. There's someone that she knows real well is getting married. She had to go back down for a wedding, so she's in Florida. She spends most of the summer in Florida." And then we've got Ashley that came back. Ashley was with us real strong through the beginning of the year, and then she went to work at the hospital. Why don't you stand up and tell us what you're doing at the hospital, will you?
So I'm just a patient care tech. Basically, you're helping out the nurse do most of the dirty work. Some fun stuff, well, I find it fun, but yeah.
Everybody gets to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And then Coach Thomas is with us again here tonight, and it just feels right having him beside me. So before we get started, some of the next year's freshman class, they've reached out to me, and there's a little bit of sickness going through that group. And then you guys know Coach Underwood. Coach Underwood sent me a text a little bit ago, and one day last week he said, "Hey, I can't make it. We've been doing some stuff with the junior high kids." And he said, "I can't make it. That my father-in-law, they brought hospice in, and things aren't going well for him." And so he sent me a message a little bit ago, and his father-in-law passed this afternoon. So, but a week and a half before that, he went down to Texas, and he got to see his new grandbaby for the first time. So he gets to see both ends of life, and he's just a real special guy that works for us and does a good job. But Lord, thank you again for the opportunity to come together and continue to teach us how to love one another. At the beginning of every season, Lord, that's our quest, is to learn how to love one another. And I think that we did a pretty decent job of that this year. We thank you for the blessings. We thank you for keeping us healthy. And we thank you for keeping us safe. Lord, I ask a special touch from the Holy Spirit to touch the Underwoods tonight as they go through this season of life. Lord, I also ask the Holy Spirit to touch the boys who are going to be representing the community this weekend. Lord, we ask that you keep them safe, you keep them clear. Lord, I'm so thankful for the leadership that you've given these kids this year and everything that they've went through on their side. You're mighty and awesome. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Okie doke. Megan, would you and Helen come up here, please? It's always fun to be able to give the first seed to your players. And these guys, and we'll talk a little bit more about them, but this is their first seat tonight, and they've worked exceptionally hard, and they've met all the criteria that the school has established, and I just love coaching both of them. Okay. Next we have the conference players. And, you know, they award how many people you get on the conference team by where you finish in the conference. And I couldn't really break this down a whole lot, but everyone that I talked to in the conference said that they can't ever remember Cowan getting 2. And it's because we finished in the top half of the conference that we could have 2 this year. And that'd be Lauren and Kayla. They take a look at the stats, and we have a meeting, and we go through some things, and we try to present them. And they said that, you know, you guys represented the conference well. One of the things that we walked away from in that meeting was, and I'll talk a little bit more about it maybe a little bit later, but I don't know how to say it real gracefully. The teams in the top part of the conference really never scouted us before. And this year, they said, we had to scout you guys. We didn't know, we just knew coming in that you guys were going to be ready to play, and that you were going to give us a challenge that you hadn't given us in the past. And a lot of it is because of these 2 players right here. So, Kay, can you stay here with me for just a second? Thanks, Tony. We played in the holiday tournament. And again, that was one of those things that we got together and put our heads together with the coaches and talked about who the conference representative was from Cowan, and this year, again, it's going to be Kayla here. What do we got next, Michael? Okay. Again, this is one of those opportunities. Mike went to the...
This is kind of neat because...
Why don't you sit up and explain what happened? Sit up. I mean, you see Mike, he doesn't say a whole lot, but when he does, it's important.
And it was really nice to hear coaches, you know, you never know when you go into this. This is when you go in and you have to lobby for your players. And statistics are sometimes deceiving, but it's nice when the other coaches recognize the same thing that you do with your own team. And, you know, like I said, this year we were able to get 3 all-county, you know, and you think, hey, a school like Yorktown only got 2. But the Yorktown people, coaches and staff, you know, they all recognized our players for what they could do. And so it was really a neat event. I was really glad to be there. And I'm just glad to see, you know, coaches, you know, think alike and they were objective and everything. So it's quite good. So.
And there wasn't a whole lot. We didn't have to sell. We presented the stats, and they just pretty much uniformly said, you know, we know you guys are going to get 3. And like Mike said, Yorktown got 2. I think Watt got 3. Delville might have got 1. There were 10 total, and we were really, really well represented in Delaware County this year. It was a fun time at tourney time. We were playing pretty good right then. We ran into a buzzsaw on that Friday night, or on that Saturday night when we played in the finals. And you know, if you guys can go back and remember, we talked about playing on championship night. We got to play on championship night a couple times this year, and that's always fun. Lauren, Kay, and Emma, would you please come out? Thank you. Thank you. These guys are getting the hardware tonight, and they're the ones that people are recognizing, and you know, Mike and I get to see the other kids in practice every night. And we really stressed to these guys, you guys are kind of getting the ink in the newspapers, and you guys are kind of getting the recognition and stuff. But if it wasn't for the other kids pushing them every night and making them better and buying into what we do, they wouldn't be getting these awards. Actually came in, her and Michaela would come in and practice and stay after and work with these guys, and you could tell that the work paid off for each other. Thanks, guys. Okay. I'm gonna change it up there just a little bit, Mike. How we doing on time?
2 minutes ahead of schedule.
10 minutes ahead of schedule. Yeah.
Man.
Okay. I want to bring Shelby and Helen and Emma back up here, please. I want to start off with Shelby. You know, they let me have about 2 or 3 plaques each year, and she says, I don't care who you give them to or what you give them to. And you know, a lot of other places, a lot of other coaches put emphasis on stats, and that's something that we can measure, but I've always felt, and I brought Mike around to thinking about it, a lot of times the players at the top, that's a God-given talent. They work hard these 3 work hard at what they do, and they take the most opportunity from the things that they're given, but they're easy to coach. But a lot of the stuff that they had before we got here, and what's even more important, they're going to take it with them when they leave. And that's really important to me, that they take it with them when they leave. The first one that I want to bring up, come here, kids. And we'll talk a little bit more about her. But she's going to get the captain's, or what do we call it? The captain's award. I knew what it was, but I wanted to make sure they printed it right? She gets the captain award. I don't know how much you guys were involved with the summertime stuff last year, but when I looked at the activity that was going on in this GroupMe thing, Shelby Crabtree was always the one that was challenging everyone, that was encouraging to everyone, that kept us together. You know, all the coaches across Indiana and actually across the nation, we never been through anything like that before. We usually have access to the kids all through June, and we can do our own kind of motivating and stuff, but this year that couldn't happen. And I would get up in the morning and Shelby'd already sent out something encouraging for the day. I'd look at a little bit later on, and Shelby was encouraging these kids to get out and do their push-ups. I'd go on down the road a little bit, and Shelby was the one that was saying, hey, we're missing you guys. And she just kept us together. And that was this year. Some of you guys know the story about when I was coaching against these guys when in the 8th grade. And Shelby's the one that I remember even during that time. And she was the one that was out there trying to get everybody where they belong and doing it the right way. And she's an inspiration when it comes to her leadership. And you're going to be able to take that with you. Or I expect you to take it with you. And anything that she touches, she's going to have that leadership quality to her. And I sure appreciate you, and I'm going to miss you like everybody's business. Okay? The next one is Emma. Emma's kind of hard. When you look at the stats, Emma's never number 1 in anything, but she's never number 8 in anything either. There were a lot of nights that we would get kind of disjointed, and the ball would get to Emma, and she had such a calming influence for us. And she would be able to slow the ball down, or she could speed it up when we were going. And it was after the Christmas time, I was thinking about her, and I started calling her into coach's office, the nurse. And Michaela said, why are you calling her the nurse? I said, because Emma can always stop the bleeding for us. When we get ready to get crazy and start turning the ball over or getting out of whack, the ball somehow would find its way to Emma and she could slow us down. And tonight she's getting the most influential player. Come here. Who had the best attendance this year? Helen. Helen had the best, we keep track with all this stuff, and Helen had the best attendance. Why does Cowan have a JV the last 2 years? This one. She sacrificed herself and she put herself behind in order to make the program better. And I can't tell you how important that is that we have a JV team. And last year, she said, I went down and started talking to her softball, and she said, yeah, I'll try it. I'll be with my friends. I said, what do you expect? And she said, I expect to have fun and be with my friends. Well, about midsummer this year, in the stuff, she got me sent me a groupie and said, hey coach, I'm not sure that basketball's going to be in my future. And I just wanted to let you know early. Again, communicating, being a leader, an adult-to-adult conversation. I said, okay, that's fine. You think you might want to manage for us? And she said, I'll give it some thought. And then just a little bit before we got ready to start, she sent me something. She said, is it too late? Is it too late for me to come back and play? Absolutely not. I mean, I just about jumped out of my shirt when she said she wanted to play. But I said, Helen, we have to have a conversation. What do you expect? You expect varsity minutes? And she said, I expect to come in and help and be a great teammate. And am I embellishing anything? She said, I want to be a great teammate. I want to help these other guys. And I want to have a fun season. And if we can do that, it's okay. Now, some of you have heard this story before. Do you want to tell it? Why don't you? Let's do it. Let's do it. Pull that down over. I'll get over here. You know what story it is? Some of you guys have heard this story, and some of you haven't. We're at what they call it back at the Retro Diner. We're having breakfast at the Retro Diner. Okay, now most of you guys have heard this story. And we've got a long table, and I'm sitting down at the end of it, and it's right at Christmas time, and they've got their grades. And Helen's got 2 or 3 kids down, and they have this conversation going. There's a conversation going on over here. There's a conversation here and here. And I asked the kids over here, I said, so what's your favorite class? And some of them were telling me about their favorite class. And then all of a sudden, Helen was engaged in a conversation over here. I don't even think she's paying attention. And then one of the girls said, hey, coach, what was your favorite class?
I said it was lunch.
Looked like lunch. She goes right back to talking to whoever she was talking to. It just came, and I thought, man, I love that kid. I love her personality. I love the way she carries. I love asking the kids, what did you learn in school today? And usually you get some bullcrap answer. It was a waste of time. Helen is the funnest one to ask that question because she goes to the Career Center. Because she's on the volunteer fire department. What do they call it? Junior cadet? She's a junior cadet. Because through last year, she's driving out to the Career Center, coming back to Cowan, and then going back to the Career Center, then coming back to practice. And you will find very many kids with that much, that when they knew they weren't going to get the playing time, that the kids in her class got. That tells you about her character and about how great of an individual she is and how I'm really going to miss her and she's going to get the Coaches Award this year. Okay. Now, can I have Sophie and Riley and Kaylee? Hold on, yeah, we'll do it that way. That's fine. This is something that I really wasn't aware of until I went to get the box. And when I went up there to get it, she said, here's all your awards and stuff. And I was going through and we had the call these certificates. And I didn't see theirs. And I said, well, you'll get a how come they don't have one? They said, well, they get a special award. They get a plaque. And other places, I'm not sure that they get that. All four of these guys lettered for 4 years in basketball. And that's pretty special. That doesn't happen everywhere. So, and show. That's pretty special stuff. We'll talk about it just here in a few minutes. Okay? Now, these kind of got slipped in, and I don't have them signed. But yeah, we'll go here. Okay. Then we'll have 3-year varsity players. Okay, Emma, would you come up? Lauren? And Grace isn't here tonight. She's not feeling well. Grace got hold of it. Grace is a great communicator. But we have these two with their 3-year awards. Hopefully they'll get 4 years. Then, now give me those. Yeah, let's get the other guys taken care of. Yeah, they've been sitting back there and they need to stretch their legs. Brooklyn, Miranda, Chrisum, Megan, and Helen. Most of the year, these guys were representing us on the JV. They got cheated. I'll just tell you right now, they got cheated out of a lot of games. The big girls got, we missed a couple games. But these guys, a lot of nights, they were playing in practice pretty hard, knowing that they weren't going to have a game that night. There were several schools that didn't have JVs. There were several schools that got sick. There were several schools that were massaging how many quarters their kids were playing. But again, it takes a lot of character to come in to practice and do what they were doing, knowing that they weren't going to get the payday that we talked about. Brooklyn, this is your first one. Thank you. Brianna, go. She coming out? You coming out?
I didn't hear my name.
My bad. Probably did. Miranda. Kristen. Meg. Helen. So we've got these guys with their first certificate, correct? That's the word I was looking for a little bit ago, certificate. Okay, so you guys have that one?
I told you. That's what you said.
That's what you said? Well, say it loud.
You said, oh,
Say it loud. Okay? So, these are the guys that this is the future right here. You senior parents, this is our future. This is the guys that's going to carry us to the next level. We started talking about legacy last year. These guys are going to be leaving their legacy. These guys are going to pick it up. And I'm really, really looking forward to coaching each and every one of these guys. Okay? Have a seat. This is Josie's second varsity award. Josie was playing some varsity and she was playing some JV stuff. but this is for the second year award that you get. And hopefully you'll still be around to do more, go play a couple more years. Are you sure? I will get you guys, if you'll come up later, we'll get you your chevrons and your pins and stuff like that. Okay? We'll work on that. How we doing on time, Michael? Still ahead?
Not too bad.
Still not too bad. Okay.
That's what I listed.
The one thing, every time we went to talk about our girls at these other coaches' meetings, there was one thing that we could talk about that no one else had. We played on Saturday night. We didn't always win on Saturday night. But guess where we're winning? We're winning in the classroom. Most of these guys may never pick up another basketball again when they leave. But what they're doing in the classroom is going to go with them after we leave. Josie, would you come up, please? Lauren? Riley? Okay? Emma? Shelby? And Helen? How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? 7? 7. How many players do we have? 13. That's a pretty tall top. We have this many kids on the all-conference team. Academic team, all conference academic. Did I miss you again? I think we did that last year too. I gotta talk to you. But this is above my pay grade, but I won't throw anyone under the bus. But no, we'll get you, stand up here, would you please? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, and then she didn't get them dated either, but you guys could, Mike, would you take these and, as I had, you got your pen back? No, I didn't keep it. I threw it back to you. You'll see us in team meetings. You don't have it? I tossed it back over here. He's got it, see? I know I'm sweating. Now she's chirping up real good. Who you got?
First one?
Yeah. Josie? Josie, would you go by and get yours? So. Who you got next?
Lauren.
Lauren, would you go by and pick yours up, Luke, too, please? No, I want you to stay right here. Who's next?
Megan.
Meg. Was she in there? Are you kidding me? That was when I was, Megan. I'm sorry, man.
It's okay.
That's how you move on, right?
My name is my sister.
It's Meg. Is it? Yeah.
Riley.
What is it? It's not making a mistake. It's not making it twice. Well, I made it twice.
Haley. Emma. Helen. Shelby.
How many of you guys are in the National Honor Society? Raise your hand if you're in the Honor Society. You're at the top of the class. You finished with the best record that County Girls Basketball's ever had, 13-8. You guys have a lot to be proud of on the floor and in the classroom. You guys are leaders. I see your names and all that stuff on the announcements. And I just, we'll we'll talk about the seniors here in a minute. But Mike and I always talk about which ones are ready to go into the world. And this year, we've got 5 kids, I think, that are probably about as prepared to go into the world. And we've got these other guys that are following right behind them. Give them a hand. That's the one that, this is the one that Mrs. Scruggs gives us the most credit on, and we do the least with. It's the teachers in the classroom that are getting the things done with them. Okay, Soph, would you come back up, please? This is the part. Come here, get up. This is the part that I look forward to the most and enjoy doing the least, if that makes sense. Basketball, and I've talked with a couple parents, and the end of the basketball season, the reality of this thing's going to wind down starts to sink in. And I think about Sophie, and Sophie and I's heart probably are as close as any of the other seniors. The way that we react to things, the way that we want things, the way that we expect things, and I just have loved Sophie. Sophie and I haven't always seen eye to eye on things. Here, right? But it never affected the way that we treated one another. She never let those things affect the way that we work together. And that's hard. Usually when you're in that situation, it's just a pain in the butt. But Sophie, I really appreciate when we've had meetings and stuff, what you told me was honest. You told me what your heart was. You let me talk, and you accepted, and we accepted one another for where we were. And I appreciate that. That's the way I'm going to remember you. If you told me something, it was the absolute truth, and you could share with me what's going on. Now, if you all step away, but I want you to share a little bit about what this spring looks like, and then on into next year, would you please? Now say it loud and say it proud. She's got a lot to be proud of. Okay, number one, Sophie, and you guys all know this, and we're kind of talking back, but Sophie was on the state championship volleyball team. Sophie, at one time this year, we're sitting here doing stats, and Mike said, what? He said, yeah, Sophie. I said, yeah. He said, she's 18 and 18 from the free throw line. There are not a whole lot of people that understood what she was doing there at the free throw line. She's a good shooter. She understood what was going on. She got to the